Good morning. Reverend Christy here, flanked by these amazing reverends. On one of the Pride Sundays, we're going to celebrate real big towards the end of the month, but I just started to get a jump on it with my Pride stole, and just wanted to say talk a little bit about pride. It's an interesting choice of words that we chose as an LGBTQ community. I know some of us who were raised on the Bible, it says pride cometh before the fall, and the idea of being prideful is not a good thing. But yet we have this pride and this joy about saying, I'm here and this is who I am and I celebrate it, and it's a really positive kind of pride. It's a pride to say, please see me as I am, and looking for celebration and acceptance at the same time. At least that's what I think of it. I don't know. What do you think?
That's what I think of it. I think of, that song, This Is Me. That's what I think of with pride, is this is me. Pride has given the community and people the confidence to step out and say, this is who I am. Please love and accept me the way I am. And I think it's just beautiful that we had our Pride Parade at Gulfport last Saturday to kick off Pride. And it was amazing the huge rainbow of people that were there. Yes, it was just amazing to see all those people have come together in solidarity, whether straight or gay or whatever your sexual orientation. People from all economic backgrounds, people from all racial backgrounds were there celebrating who they were and celebrating who each other are.
Well, and the I won't say sad thing, but the realization of it is we should be living pride every day. Because God inherently made each and every one of us the way we've exactly turned out to be. So I always, with myself, somebody say, are you going to do X next for pride? And I always say, I live pride every day. I live pride every day with my ministry. I live pride every day with my business, in my life, in my lifestyle, in the words that come out of my mouth. So it's one thing to have it on a calendar, but it's another thing to actually, it's just like, I saw a funny meme the other day, something about Christians are only Christians on Easter, Christmas, and the religious holidays. But, be proud of who God made you are every day of your life.
Yes. Yeah, I love that idea. I think about when I first was coming out to myself, because that's what you do first, right? And I went to the first Pride Parade, and it was in San Francisco, California. So I would say that's one of the most whoop-de-doo, amazing Pride Parades you could possibly imagine. Every single kind of expression, right? I was so overwhelmed and said, this can't be me. I can't, this flamboyance, there's so many exterior parts being exposed. And I was raised with so much more modesty, right? So it's like, oh my goodness, this is not me. And so the beauty of it was, from that moment, I had to start to grow, and the LGBTQ community and its levels of expression and gender identity and the ways to express that forced me to say, wait, there is so much more diversity than what I was willing to accept. And being an African American, I wanted people to, be, anti-racist. I wanted them to be totally inclusive and accept diversity. And then I found myself feeling judgmental of people who were expressing in such what I considered, over the top, too much. And then I thought about it in my own life. It's like people had said to me as a little girl, you're too much, because I would sing loud or do things, and I thought, okay, this is the lesson. And it took me many years. I'm 62, and I came out to myself when I was probably 35, something like that, late in life. And I would say it was a good decade of developing the understanding and full acceptance of the amazing, vibrant, true rainbow, as you said. But it's part of my spiritual growth.
It is.
Well, I will also, to add another layer to that, we are of an older generation, and you watching this home might be from a younger generation. But I've said many times, it kind of saddens me sometimes when our younger generation really does not know the meaning behind pride and the start of pride and the price that many people, even before our generation, paid. I remember when I first came out, when I was like 15 years old, 16 years old, we used to go to what was called, in the state I lived in, they had to be private clubs. It was a gay club. You had to go down an alley, somebody peeped through a hole in the door, and you had to have a membership to come in because it had to be that on the DL.
Yeah.
And it's sad, and I don't think that maybe sometimes, I guess every generation, I guess that we were represented the same way to our parents, but the younger generation doesn't take an interest to know in totality the price that was paid for them to parade out in the, like you said, parade in the parade with things exposed. But I remember being in bars where the bars got, and this was gay bars, when the bars were set on fire. Twice that happened with me in a bar. Bullets shot through the door, several times that happened. So there has been a price paid for us in today's time to be as represented so openly as we are. So I salute and hold a sacred space in my heart for all of our brothers and sisters who were a generation before us that paid the dear price at Stonewall in New York City.
And we had an incident just the Friday before last Friday, here in Pinellas County at a middle school. And I don't know all the particulars. I read the newspaper story and saw the Facebook post, but the students were having a celebratory picnic because the teachers were rewarding them for a wonderful year. And so, of course, as middle school kids and high school kids do, they got off in their smaller groups. And then one small group had little pride flags on their picnic table, and one young man put a pride flag around him, and then another group came over and drug him around the field and stomped on him, and it was violent and intolerant. And they are now, Congressman Chris, thank goodness, has gotten involved, and they are reprimanding those young men and the young people that were involved in that. But even today, even after all of that, we see some intolerance and fear. So it's not always been a safe thing to stand up and say, I am me.
Right.
And so we have to honor that some people still aren't willing to stand up and truly say, I am me.
Sure.
And
don't judge that.
And there has to be compassion and understanding and not judgment. And some people are comfortable in saying, I am me, this is who I am. And some people like to keep it more on the DL, as you said, because they still have that fear or still live in that place where they wonder, is it really safe to be out?
And I salute the community or in the family or in whichever constellation we're talking about, right?
And I also to salute our allies, our straight brothers and sisters. There's many straight people who are in my life who would go to battle, do go to battle, or whatever. They would take up for us, and we salute them also because they are part of our pride too.
Yes,
but they kind of gave me good God bumps there.
Yes.
Yeah, and the people who are willing to listen and understand the stories, as you mentioned, Richard, of the past and the things that happened, and have us coming to this place, because some of those young people who perpetrated that violence against that person, the fear that they have of other, is something that's like a different kind of virus, right? That goes around and people let it catch into them. So this idea of not understanding that there is a full expression and it's all acceptable, and really that person who is hurting the other person, oftentimes we find is keeping something about themselves hidden because they're afraid, right?
Absolutely.
So this idea that there's not space for everyone is a false idea. Like we try to teach in our teaching that there's no separation, and it's a false idea that we're separate. Even if we are different, even if there's equality, we are completely connected because we're made of the same stuff. So if only, and that's what we do, that's why we do our work, right? To get people to hear that that person who doesn't look like you, who doesn't act like you and all those things is still you, is still part of you.
When we understand, and our gay community has to learn this, because there's so much prejudice and racism in this community, which really bothers me. But when we understand that our differences is actually what makes us strong, because we do have our own identity. And when we realize that your differences makes us stronger, we actually become a stronger community.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I love that our beautiful, wonderful, amazing spiritual leader, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes, has a quote that we have on mugs that you can get at our store and on pillows that says, united we stand, divided we are merely a distraction. And if anyone comes to us with conversation, and to her in particular with conversation about something that is divisive, her comment is generally, I don't want to engage in something that is divisive. Let's see where we are alike and can unite on that subject. Where can we come together? Because when we come together, that's when we stand strong. When we pick at all the differences, that's when we are a distraction.
We're much more alike than we're different.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing.
As human beings, for sure. What you brought up is really important, and when I teach in leadership development is a lot of times people are trying to have their positions, right? And they've got these little tiny positions. This is my position, this is your position, this is your position, right? And then you can't agree on that, right? But then what we do is we draw a bigger circle and we say, let's find a space we can align together.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be on this position, that position. We don't have to be the same, but there is a space where we can align together and move forward.
And that's so awesome. And now you'll know the term. I wasn't, but whenever I'm trying to make a big decision, I go the old-fashioned route. I get a piece of legal pad and I go pros and cons.
Yeah.
And then down at the bottom, I draw my little circle, and then where the two come together.
Exactly.
That's where, there's a word for that, and it's escaping me.
Well, there's a Venn
this
diagram.
circle and this circle,
it's
and
a
then
Venn diagram.
you have that piece that's like this.
Yeah.
That is where they come together.
Who
where
likes
you
chocolate
are
ice cream?
aligned.
Who likes vanilla ice cream? Who likes both?
Yes.
That place in
and
the
where
middle,
you
that's
are
right.
aligned and where you are balanced and where you are in harmony with each other. And that is the place. If we focus on that place where we are aligned in balance and harmony, then we can all be happy. We can be peaceful. We can coexist.
Yep.
Like the mind. Coexist.
That's right.
Coexist.
Platform's big enough.
Exactly.
It's big enough for all of us, for all of our expressions, for all of our ways of being, and that's the intention of creation. There isn't anything in creation we can find that's exactly the same. I mean, even snowflakes, right? They say that each one of those billions that might fall are completely different.
To take this to the church world, I one time was the vice chair in the second largest gay affiliated church affiliation in the country. And I got tickled one time because I looked around the room and I said to a room full of about 400 different pastors from different churches, I said, you don't understand that your biggest obstacle is yourself. Because you are so focused on being something else versus running in the freedom that your pride gives you. I said, so many of you, I've been to most of your churches and spoke, so many of you are so, excuse the expression, hell-bent on being accepted like a straight church that you don't run in the flourishing of being who you are. And so I encourage you today at home, listening to us now or later in the day, to sit and meditate and listen to that still small voice and ask the universe, how can I live my day showing my pride, whatever that is?
Absolutely. And know that, this is the first Sunday. It's our Friendship Sunday. We call the first Sunday of the month Friendship Sunday. We invite you to come to church and bring friends and neighbors. And if you're watching online, to share with your friends and neighbors our service. And know that on this Sunday, all four ministers you're going to see on the platform, we're all from the LGBTQ plus community.
That's true.
All four of us.
I love to tell this one. Actually, I'm working on my autobiography. I've been doing this for about 2 years, but something I love to share is for 20 some years, I was part of a mega church in Atlanta, and I said I probably was the first openly gay minister ordained in a non-gay church, in a mega church in America. And I actually enjoyed that because they recognized the beauty of ministry in me, which again, that goes to the allies, those allies who stand with us. And where was I going with that story? I totally went blank.
and that's the way it happens sometimes.
Well, the idea of being one who stands out in that particular setting, but you had the gift and you were able to share that gift, and it was your own flavor. and that enriched that whole experience.
And they never asked me to be different.
Yes.
Tone it down.
And I love this story. Yeah. We had a huge conference one time, and an African bishop stood up at this, and there was probably about 1,200 ministers there at this conference, and he stood up and he said to our archbishop, well, what are we going to do about all the gay people in our church? Our bishop, who was up in age, could care less about what he said. He said, well, what are we going to do about our gay people in our church? Because I'll take my gay people, because I'll go start a whole new church with them. They're faithful, they tithe, they give, they volunteer. He just went on. He said, and so the other bishop just kind of sat down.
That's right.
Yeah. And one of the things here, we are so diverse and inclusive in our congregation and our community here at the First Unity Spiritual Campus that I bet a lot of people don't even realize that until we call it out or point it out.
Right.
That all 4 ministers today are from the LGBTQ community. I tried to say it quickly.
Can't do that.
You don't even, we are so diverse and inclusive that we allow ourselves to come together without having to see the differences in a negative way.
Right.
Yeah. So, awesome.
Well, I think this has been beautiful.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy
And
Friendship Sunday.
make sure you're going to join us on the 27th. Wanda Nero Butler and all of us have some wonderful surprises in store for you for our Pride Celebration Service, and that's going to be Sunday, June 27th. You're going to want to be in the house on that day. For sure.
Absolutely.
And let's just add, if you're
Amazing.
still watching at home, we're open. Our sanctuary is
Totally.
waiting
Yep.
for you.
Yep. Still
Come
time.
experience our openness.
Hop
And
in the car.
also, our Coexist in Unity mugs that are very pride friendly are available on our website, as well as a shirt with this logo in white and black, and it's a beautiful shirt.
Yep.
So get that shirt. Go to
And come see us. You can
firstunity.org.
come with or without mask. It's your choice, but we support everyone's way of expressing and feeling safe. So
Absolutely.
hope to see you.
We love you.
Going to the coffee shop per week per family is at least $72 to $85 a week. Therapy is $100 to $250 per week or per appointment. Dinner out is $65 to $110, and that doesn't even include the alcohol. Theater for entertainment, 2 people, $80 to $132, and that does not include the cost of dinner before. First Unity, a place, a beacon, a lighthouse, the heart of this city and the heart of this nation and of this country and of this world, teaching people to awaken and live their empowered and amazing selves. First Unity, that gives you food, spiritual food, that can transform you from the place you are to the place you long to be. First Unity, the teachings and the tools that allow you to let go of addictions and habits and things that are in your way, so you may be free, so you may fly, so you may live boldly and brave and loving right from the core of your heart. What is the value that you place upon such a place?